Now, if you look at tax on interest, it has several historical kind of roots. And this is not something new, I would say. But sometimes I will look at some implementations as something that we handpick without necessarily looking at the dynamics of our economy, how people will feel it, and all those. But I think I would rely first on the timing. The timing is wrong. Now, if you look at withholding tax on investment, there's nothing wrong with it in a sense that now, if you invest and you're making interest, I mean, the government has a duty because it's kind of for earning. Okay, you've invested and you are earning. It's like working. If you are not working, it's the money that is working for you. So there's nothing wrong with taxing interest on loans. But then in the end, if you look at what is happening on the grounds here, I mean, it's not the time to say I'm going to tax interest on loans because do the people really have appetite for investment? If you realize that people understand the concept of investment, then in that case you can go ahead to know that fine. Even if I tax them, I'm not going to scare people from putting their money in the bank. But here in this part of the world, we're now drumming of financial inclusion and a country where people really don't understand. You go to the cocoa farms and all the villages and all those. You go and meet people with their monies lying under their pillows. So if they hear that, hey, if you put your money in the bank, at the end of the day, they're going to tax you, do you think it will bring them closer to the bank or it will bring them closer to where they're supposed to invest? So for me, it's not every policy that you pick up in the books or in the literature or elsewhere that you implement in your setting. You need to really assess, what is happening on the ground. Do we really need that tax? Well, what is the factor? What is the benefit? Because in the end, if you realize the cost-benefit analysis of this implementation of the taxes, you look at the number of investment that you're going to scare away. You really have to go deeper into it.
Don't forget that tax could be the reason why investors will relocate. Some may even seek early redemption of their investment in Ghana and go elsewhere. And when they are exiting, they will be taking dollars away. That could even cause higher volatility in the foreign exchange market. Okay, if you look at Dubai, for instance, they use effectively tax to attract a lot of FDI or investment to that country. And tax, nobody enjoys paying tax. I mean, it was one of the questions they asked Jesus Christ, whether it was lawful to pay tax to Caesar. So when it comes to tax, you want to be very, very careful that you don't overburden the system or in the name of raising revenue. So it's a balancing that government may suffer a bit because you can't raise the much needed revenue, but you're also thinking about the other side. I believe that we could look at other ways of raising more revenue, improve on large tax compliance, tax rationalization, exemptions and all those things, broaden the tax net as a way of closing the gap rather than maybe just this approach that will hurt